Hi, everybody. I'm here today to have a discussion with a dear friend of mine. We've been collaborating in for just working with each other and exploring and journeying together. And for a number of years now, I'm not even sure, Regina, how many years, but I think it might be something like 6 or 7 years that we've been working together.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And so I want to introduce Regina for everyone watching this video later. Regina Rivers is a core shamanic practitioner. She's a member of the Society for Shamanic Practices and the owner of Rivers Healing Arts LLC in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's the founder and chair of Site Night, which is an organization in Pittsburgh that presents live bi-monthly presentations by international teachers and healers and leaders whose goal is to help raise the consciousness of humanity. And she is also on the lead team for the Patrick McCullum Foundation for Peace. I know that's just a brief summary and not even all of the things that you do, all of the amazing things that you do. I've learned a lot from Regina over the years. When I first saw her speak on shamanism, I just thought, I need to know this woman and I need to learn things from her. And I went up and talked to her, and I signed up for all of the workshops that she had coming up, and we've been friends since then. So Regina, I'm so happy you're here talking with me. We're just gonna jump in because my thought around us having this conversation is it's time to start sharing and documenting about what we've been learning together. You know, even if we're exploring through the conversation. This is not an interview. This is going to be a discussion where we can kind of just start to put our thoughts out about what it's been like to kind of come to this cross section between homeopathy. I'm a homeopath, for those who don't know, and so we've been working at this cross section between homeopathy and shamanism in our work together, and that's been very interesting to me because I think that homeopathy is fundamentally shamanistic. It works with natural energies. And I don't know a lot about, I'm not trained in shamanism at all, so kind of everything I know about it I've learned from you, from working with you. Mm-hmm. So what stands out for you, like what you've learned or what surprised you about working together? Whether it was me, what happens when you give me sessions or when you come to me for homeopathy?
Well, one thing I like is how in the beginning of your practice you start with a meditation with people. I really like that because it as in shamanism, when we begin something, we like to create sacred space.
Yes.
By calling in the directions and calling in all those who are here to help us in one way or another on the other side of the veil as well as this side of the veil. And so meditating when you begin is like creating that same sacred space as we do in shamanism. So that's one thing that I think is really wonderful about how you work with people. And another thing is how we both actually incorporate journey work into what we do. Now, your journey work is a bit different than the way I do journey work, and that's perfectly wonderful. And I gain a lot from how you do journey work because it's the way we do it, I see it as a collaboration as well, that we both go into an altered state of consciousness. We join the ranks of the spirit realm together, and then we open ourselves to what is important to hear, what is important to know and to see and to do. And as you are sharing what you see in whatever dimension it is that we wind up in, then it helps me go deeper into what's important for me to learn about what's going on in my own life. So not so much surprising as it is exhilarating is the word that comes. You know that really in the world of shamanism, everything is made of energy and everything is the same. We're all related. Everything is related. And so it should be very easy for someone who does the work you do, homeopathy, to jump right into the same energetic fields that people do when we're working with shamanism.
I feel that too. Homeopathy is all about energy. I think a lot of people don't realize about homeopathy because the medicine comes in a little bottle. So people think, oh, it's like herbalism, or oh, it's like essential oils. It's not at all, because there's nothing in that bottle but some encoded energy or in some dilution of water and alcohol. So we're really tapping into the energies of, if it's a mineral remedy, that mineral, or if it's a plant, that plant. So so even just by taking a remedy, that we're going on a shamanic journey, we're inviting that energy into our life, and then we're at energy to see what does it have to teach us and can it help us release.
Right.
And matching up the remedy that is most similar to our own energy patterns is what helps us release.
Great.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So since everything is energy, we can learn. We can have discussions with what some people might call inanimate objects. We call them non-sentient beings in the world of shamanism. But everything has a voice. Everything has a universal heartbeat. So we're all able to converge in the energetic dimension and open up to what anything, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, what they have to tell us. It takes a different kind of ear, perhaps, but once you hear it for the first time, you get it.
And we've both practiced, I think, in slightly different ways, coming from different directions. We've both practiced refining that way of listening to the energy. And you are very intuitive, and you just channel a lot of beautiful information when we tune into energy. And I find that so rich and fun. But it's interesting, I just, like, when you said that, and I know in different traditions we put labels on things like non-sentient, but it's interesting because I work with plant remedies commonly, and animal remedies and mineral remedies. Those are our basic. That's our basic toolkit. Any mineral, any animal, any plant can be a remedy, and the minerals are not less intelligent and don't have less to say.
Right.
Or the plants.
Right.
So the whole idea of what's sentient and what's not sentient kind of goes out the window. And I've come to believe that any energy has its own intelligence, its own life, its own aliveness, and its own intelligent sentience. If that's probably redundant, but you get the point.
Yeah, and in shamanism and even in the esoteric philosophies, all minerals and plants and animals, and humans, we're all evolving. We all are striving to become the most that we can become. And so the job of the mineral kingdom and the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom are to create just as with human beings, a reciprocation in life. In other words, they aren't just
Uh,
being, they are giving. And so
yeah,
they're giving us their energy in the
yeah,
form of homeopathy. Yeah, so that
yeah.
they in turn can evolve.
Well, do you think they're also learning from their association with us? Because here's the funny thing that has always been the biggest mystery in homeopathy to me. Not what everyone else is probably thinking. Why does it even work in the first place? But what the biggest mystery to me is when I take somebody's case and I go journey with them and really listen to the depth of their experience, there's one archetype that is being expressed, and it's being expressed through their dreams, through their physical symptoms, um, through the type of the whole language of their physical symptoms and their body, if they're coming to work to heal an illness, but also just kind of the way they are in the world, the way they walk through life, the way they perceive things. It's like the filters that they have. So if somebody needs say I need the remedy gold, pops into mind. I'm kind of looking at the world through gold,
Mm.
energy filters, and I'm kind of almost being a human representative of gold in the world. And if I'm sick, my illness is going to be like the shadow side of the gold archetype. And then that remedy is the thing that's going to mirror my state and heal me. But the thing is that connection with gold is so deep that deep in meditation, deep in journey, people can start kind of channeling that experience. Or if it's maybe a little easier to understand if you're talking about somebody who needs an animal remedy. And
Mm.
I've seen people go deep into kind of a trance state or an altered state, and they start channeling what it's like to be that animal, and they'll say things about that animal that they didn't know, mind that they had never learned about that animal, but you can then go correlate it when you read about the zoology or the natural history of the animal. And so now let's go back to gold, to the mineral. If my remedy was gold, um, is my life, is gold evolving through sharing my experience, like
Yes.
getting to walk around as a person?
Yes, exactly. They learn from us as we've learned from them. That's the reciprocation that I was talking about. That is one of
Yeah.
the fundamental knowings in
Mhm.
shamanism, and should be for everyone in the world. That if we have a sense of reciprocation with anything or anyone we are involved with, then that relationship, be it mineral, plant, animal, is going to be richer for it. So it's not just a taking or a receiving, it's a giving back
Yeah.
and forth, giving and
Mhm.
receiving.
And it's an intelligent relationship. It's
Yes.
a relationship between two intelligent beings, even though the intelligence of gold is kind of incomprehensible to us. But you've had, I mean, tell me, I haven't asked you this question before, but have you had experiences of communicating with a rock or like, what are your experiences? Like, I know you must have stories.
Well, I'll take tree.
Tree.
Because
That's
people
a good
people
one.
tend to people tend to have more of an affinity. Why for trees? I don't know, but
Well,
because
they're biological life, so they are a
yes,
lot more like us than rocks.
yeah, and actually, rocks are the oldest people, as the shamans
Yes.
call them. The oldest people on the earth are rocks, the rock
Yeah.
people. So. A tree in my shamanic practices, in my time of learning, I actually was able uh, to merge energetically with tree.
Mm.
And it wasn't for a very long period of time, but while I was merged with tree, I was able to understand it, to have an energetic understanding of what it is like to be a tree, not just inside a tree, but to be a tree. And you know, some people could perhaps do it this way. When I go to a gems show, or even a psychic fair or something like that, there are usually people who sell stones, who sell minerals, and
Sure.
you may, if they're walking around, they may see people that have their hands like held over different stones or minerals. And the reason why they're doing it is to connect energetically with the stones that are popping for them energetically, that are saying, I'm something that you need in your life right now. So
Mm-hmm.
if somebody sees that, you know, somebody holding their hands over stones, that's exactly what's happening. They are communicating with those stones. The stones are communicating back to them on an energetic level, saying, right now, it would be good to have me in your life.
Yeah, that just brings me to a thought that really being with the beings around us all the time, um, whether they're stones or, you know, other objects that we consider inanimate, they all have energy, and we are communicating with them all the time. Like, that's why we have different feelings about the different things around us. We are just, and everybody has the same ability to communicate. It's not the ability that people think of as psychic is just somebody has developed their their perceptive skills of how to notice this communication.
Right. Yeah.
Our energy and the other energies around us are in constant communication.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
everyone can do it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like when you and I are working with a remedy, and you say, "Oh, take this, you know, pick up the bottle." You know, I have
Yeah,
my owl remedy, by the way, here. So so
cool.
when we first started with this, you had me take it. Well, at the time, it was just the little bottle of the capsules. Uh,
Yes.
Capsules, is that what you call them?
Or pills.
Pellets?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pellets,
Okay.
pills,
Pellets.
pillules.
So what you had me do is take it and hold it, remember, up close to my heart. I'm sure you remember, because you probably do this
Yeah.
with everybody.
I don't do it with
Oh, you don't?
everybody.
Okay.
Oh, you know, just I think we do experimental things with each other.
Okay.
I mean, I know I do with you because I know you have special abilities, but I do with many clients. Often try it, but I don't ask everybody to do that because some people would not be
Okay.
comfortable.
Okay.
Some people would feel like I was asking them to do something that is out of reach,
Okay.
and then they would think, well, how can this work for me? I can't feel if the remedy's right.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but for us, what happens is, you know, I hold it up to like my heart chakra, or, you know, my heart
Yes.
area, and tune in to my body energetically, and the remedy energetically, and see if there's a pull there, see if there's a resonance there. and
Yes.
and I've worked with it so long now that I know what that feels like. I mean, usually right away I'll see either a yes in my mind's eye, or a no in my mind's eye, and that's
Yeah.
how I've learned how to talk with the remedies. Yeah, or other things too.
Nice.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so got my owl remedy here.
So can you talk a little bit about owl? Because I mean, I loved that owl came up as a your constitutional remedy, because at least that's our working theory, and it has been for some years. Um, and I loved that it came up for you because owl is such a shamanic, you know, power animal.
Right.
You know, for a shamanic practitioner, how perfect is that, and how much sense does that make? That's your archetype. You're a
Mm-hmm.
teacher. The owl
Mm-hmm.
is also a teacher archetype, as well as having this, you know, shamanic relationship, especially this particular owl. I'm remembering Taito
It,
alba, the
yes,
white
that's what it is. Taito alba.
barn owl.
Yeah.
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 Or,
Right. Right.
Barn owl is, has this kind of, it has a real, and it's proving, and it's homeopathic, how we see it. What came up when people tested the remedy to see what the themes were and what it could cure, it has this relationship between the spirit world. So it's not just the owl is shamanic. It's there's the Taito alba barn owl is especially has that archetype. So what has that been like for you to work with owl in your life, and how has it helped to have this being as your remedy?
Well, owl was a power animal of mine to begin with. So when we discovered, or when you told me the first time that you thought maybe owl might be beneficial to me, it just absolutely felt right to begin with. Owls see better in the dark.
Yeah.
And so that's the actual meaning of shaman, is one who sees in the dark.
Ooh, ooh, I'm gonna chill.
Yeah. So right off, it's a very shamanic remedy for me. So of course I resonate with that. And being able to see in the dark helps us move into different dimensions than what the world we're in now is called the ordinary dimension, or the ordinary reality. And when we move into other dimensions, they're called the non-ordinary realities or dimensions. And so for me, it really helps me, owl helps me to move into the non-ordinary dimensions where I can see actually the shadow side, the darker side, the night side of who I am, to reach into those shadows and to help me work through issues that I might not have been willing to address before. And owl, and because owl was already a power animal of mine, and I had a relationship with it, I trusted it. And I trusted it to take me exactly where I needed to go to heal what was important for me to heal.
Yeah, I like that you address the issue of trust, because I think for a lot of people, hearing that it's going to take you into the shadows, into the darkness, to better understand your shadow side, that can sound a little bit scary, or like, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to stir that up? So what is the benefit of, what's the benefit of going there?
The benefit. Did you want to say something else before I start?
Oh, just in your overall life, like, how does it affect you that you can go there and work with these issues?
Well, the shadow side is what keeps us from moving ahead in life. The shadow side, and it can be different depths of shadow too. I will say that one of my biggest shadow sides I'm working on right now, and owl is helping me work through it, as well as a grief remedy that you gave me. So I'm using both of those now to work through an issue that I've had my whole life long. And may I share that with you?
Sure, yes.
Okay, that issue is that my whole life long I have had a real deep and fear of anything that had to do with the Holocaust. And also an undesire, I will say, not to go to Poland, which is the home of my father's side of my family. I mean, people have their bucket lists. Well, I have a not bucket list, or a do not do bucket list. And going to Poland was like at the bottom of my, or at the top, I should say, of my do not do this bucket list. So
I remember you telling me that. That just was so interesting. Like, you described it, you just, whatever you were going to do, you were not going to Poland. Like, I'm just glad I don't have to go to Poland. Most people don't tell themselves that. Just so glad I'm a person who doesn't have to go to Poland.
Exactly. Yeah, why should I have to go to Poland? It's no big deal. However, However, someone, Patrick McCullum, came into my life, or came back into my life. I've known him since 2006, but and I've told you, he's a peace activist, and
Yes.
he recently told me that he's going to be going to Auschwitz, Poland, to recreate the energy of the concentration camp there, to create that land into a spiritual community. And when he first told me that, I went, oh, I'm glad that's not my work. I'm glad I don't have to go to Poland or have anything to do with Auschwitz. And then I was speaking to a friend who was telling me that she had gone to her homeland and had done some soul retrieval work there, which means bringing back a part of herself back into her body that had left because of a fear she had. And as she's talking to me, little bits of information start coming down into my mind and solidifying. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I were to want to work with this shadow side of myself, these fears that I've got, isn't this the most perfect way to do it? To go with somebody I trust, and not just go with somebody who's going to tour the place or to get a feel for the place, but to go with somebody who is actually going to recreate the energy of that space. So
Transform
it, exactly.
to something coming from love.
Right, exactly. So while I've been taking both Owl Remedy and the grief remedy right now, because I was taking the grief remedy to just work on my own issues where these things were concerned, and lo and behold, I'm taking these remedies and I'm starting to realize that they're working already. That that my shadow side is starting to open up and soften around these issues already. And so whether I get to go with Patrick to Auschwitz to actually do the work or not, these remedies are already helping me. So it doesn't matter if I go. I mean, I think I do want to go and help do the work over there, because I'm realizing that I am a micro story of that macro story.
Do you want to just insert like a brief, like, you don't have to tell the whole story, but why didn't you want to go to Poland? Why didn't you want to go to Auschwitz? Because that's the missing piece in this conversation that people might be wondering. Well, why would she want to go to Auschwitz? What's the problem with, like, I don't, you had a very specific reason for this whole.
I did. And it's because several years ago, back in the 1990s, a friend of mine did a past life regression on me. I like to call it other lifetime regression work, but
because there's no past.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So, but in that work that we did together, I was I was taken up by those gathering up the Jewish people. In that particular lifetime, I was an Irish American gal who had gone to Germany with my journalist husband. I mean, this could be made into a movie. It was so real.
It should be.
Yeah, yeah. So I was there in Germany with my journalist husband, and he went to work one day, and I went to the marketplace where my Jewish neighbors would go to market, and it was during that time that the Germans came in and gathered up all the Jewish people there, and they gathered me up right along with them. And I was saying, I'm not Jewish, I'm here with my husband, a journalist, I'm American, and nobody would listen to me. And so I was put on the train and taken. My guess is to Auschwitz. I don't know, of course, where I might have been taken, but that's my guess because of what the work that's coming up now. But I was taken, and I know there were two lines that usually were created as soon as people got off the trains. And one line, you went into the concentration camp and you became a worker. And the other line, the people were taken directly into the chambers.
Yeah.
And I happened to be in the line where I was taken right into the chamber, the gas chamber. And the hardest part for me now, knowing this, remembering this, or having this regression work done, was that as the gases started coming in, I was still in struggle with, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not Jewish, I'm American, and I shouldn't be here. And what was happening was I was just totally traumatized, and all these beautiful Jewish women were coming around me and taking care of me.
Yeah.
While this was going on.
Yeah.
And so my belief is, the Buddhist belief, and my belief too, is that the last 10 breaths that we take are what carry over into our next lifetime. And so I left that lifetime in complete fear, in complete trauma, while these other beautiful women were being so kind and wonderful to me.
And guilt for that.
Guilt, of course, deep guilt.
I remember you shared that, you felt so bad that you were freaking out instead of taking care of others.
Right.
But,
so I truly believe that this lifetime I came in with that experience, or the trauma of that experience. However, I have been able to turn it around.
yeah.
And that's a joyful part for me, that I now feel a very strong need to be in service to others, to help them heal through what they need to heal. And so this is why this has come up for me. This is why it is important to look at the shadow side and to move through the shadow side. There's joy in that discovery.
There's joy on the other side.
Yes, there's joy in even recognizing it.
And there's power in that. Once you have transmuted that energy for yourself, you are going to be in a special, you're doing that for the collective. It's not just for you. It feels purely personal, but it's much bigger than that. And when you cleanse that, you cleanse it for all of humanity. You cleanse it even for this planet. So you are one of the channels through which the trauma of Auschwitz is being healed. And then as you when you have released it, as you come out the other side, it just puts you in a very powerful place to help heal others. This is the, these individual stories are the watersheds, or the turning points where this big healing happens, and then it can just, that healing can accelerate for all of humanity.
Right. Yeah.
For the earth.
And that is the work that both OWL and this grief remedy they are speaking to me so loudly,
That's really cool.
Yeah, and helping me move through this. Yeah.
I thank you so much. I had no idea that you were going to be sharing this story, because I know that this is like the leading edge for you right now. This is what you've been working on, and it's very personal. And I thank you for bringing it out. I want to say one little thing about the grief remedy, because a lot of people who know homeopathy are going to be really curious why I gave you 2 remedies, because that's not classical, that's not normal practice. The classical part is the OWL, your constitutional remedy. And the reason that I also gave you the grief remedy, I'm involved in some very special work with source medicine, with some homeopaths in the UK, Peter Chappell and Leilani Van Koten, who are creating a completely new kind of energy remedy. So the grief remedy is one of their remedies. It's not traditional homeopathy, and it's not made in the way homeopathic remedies are made. How it's the same is it is just energy, but this remedy was created just by requesting it from source. And that's why they're called source resonances. Resonance is just an energy frequency. And So it's just to help heal the trauma of grief. And I knew, it's so funny. I've been trying to give you that remedy for a long time now, and we never got around to it. And then we had this, like, there was all the stuff that got in the way. We had a lag of a few months where we were both busy and we didn't have our sessions. And I said I was going to mail it, and I uncharacteristically, I think I'm sloppy sometimes with friends. I hate to admit it, but I didn't mail it for a couple of months. And then I got my act together and I finally mailed it to you. And timing, the universe was lining up the timing, because it was coinciding with the whole Auschwitz thing coming up with Patrick, that we realized, hey, it's time to start using the grief remedy. Because I knew that you were holding on to some grief. I knew that there was something, like, I've known for years there was something that we weren't getting to. And the really almost like funny thing, because I know that you've been very open with me and you trust me a lot, and we're very close, you never told me the Auschwitz story. So you had been literally sitting on that.
Yeah.
And I was, that my feeling was like, this grief remedy, there's some trauma, there's something that Regina's not talking about, or not, there's somewhere where we're not going.
Yeah.
And that was it. But it was because of Patrick that opened up, and that you went there, and then we were able to work together. And healing also starts when, Patrick starts talking about the spiritual community, and you got invited to be on the board, and suddenly you're part of this movement that was not, even though you've known Patrick a long time, this was not a big part of your life. His work was not a big part of your life till kind of more recently.
Right.
And now suddenly you're a board member. You may be, accompanying him to Poland. Like, it's really amazing how the universe has lined everything up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we should wrap up, Regina, because I think we've been talking for about 40 minutes, and that's a little bit long for YouTube attention span. And I hope that people will listen to this, because this just turned into such a I knew that if we didn't plan, that we were going to do something amazing in this video. And I'm hoping this is part one. I hope that we're going to continue our discussions, because I think so much rich material is going to come out that will help people.
I certainly hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to I'm going to ask people, if you like this video, please click like and share so more people will see it. Feel free to comment below. I'd like to get discussion going. And I'll also add some information in the, down in the description area about contacting you for your work. I know we both work in Skype. Contacting me for homeopathy, I highly recommend both of us.
Me too.
Thank you so much for talking with me, Regina, and yeah, blessings, my dear friend.
Oh, I love you.
I love you so much.
Bye-bye, Oonagh.
Bye-bye.